Did you see that? Seriously, did you just witness what went down in Eugene tonight? Because if you blinked, you might have missed one of the most electrifying upsets of the college basketball season so far. This wasn't just a game. It was a statement, a seismic shift that sent shockwaves through the entire arena, and honestly, the whole college basketball world. Indiana, a team that so many people had written off as a flash in the pan, just walked into Oregon's house and absolutely flipped the script. The energy in the building was off the charts from the opening tip, but by the end, it was the Hoosiers who were dancing on the Ducks' home floor. The atmosphere was electric, the stakes were high, and what unfolded was nothing short of unforgettable. Indiana just turned Oregon's home court into a Hoosier highlight reel. Every possession, every play, it felt like Indiana was out to prove a point, not just to Oregon, but to every single person who doubted them. The Hoosiers came out with a fire in their eyes, and you could see it in the way they moved the ball, the way they attacked the rim, and the way they celebrated every single bucket. It was as if they were saying, "We belong here, and we're not going anywhere." The confidence was palpable, and you could sense that this was a team on a mission, determined to silence the critics and make believers out of everyone watching. They said Indiana was a one-hit wonder, but tonight, they looked like a band that's ready to go on a world tour. The Hoosiers didn't just show up, they took over. From the very first whistle, you could sense that something special was brewing. The Oregon fans, who are used to seeing their team dominate at home, were left stunned as Indiana kept piling on the points and making big plays on both ends of the floor. It was a performance that demanded respect, and you could feel the momentum shifting with every possession. They went full rock star on Oregon's turf. I mean, we're talking about a team that played with swagger, confidence, and a level of intensity that you just don't see every day. The Hoosiers were high-fiving, chest-bumping, and feeding off each other's energy. It was contagious. You could see it in the way they celebrated every big play, every defensive stop, every three-pointer that found the bottom of the net. This was a team on a mission, and they weren't going to let anything or anyone stand in their way. The chemistry was undeniable, and it was clear that every player was locked in and ready to do whatever it took to win. The final score, Indiana 78, Oregon 72. But honestly, the numbers don't even tell the whole story. This was a game that was about so much more than just points on a scoreboard. It was about heart, about grit, about a team that refused to back down even when the odds were stacked against them. Indiana didn't just win. They made a statement that will be remembered for a long time. This was the kind of victory that can define a season, the kind that fans and players alike will talk about for years. Let's talk highlights. Indiana was raining threes like they ordered extra from the sky. It felt like every time they needed a big shot, someone stepped up and delivered. The Hoosiers were fearless from beyond the arc, launching deep threes with confidence and watching them splash through the net. The Oregon defense just couldn't keep up, and the crowd was left gasping as Indiana kept lighting it up from downtown. It was a shooting clinic, and the Ducks had no answer. The Hoosiers' ball movement was crisp, and their shooters were locked in, making it look almost effortless. And don't sleep on their defense. Those steals and blocks were straight up nasty. Indiana's intensity on the defensive end was just as impressive as their offense. They were diving for loose balls, getting their hands in passing lanes and swatting away shots like it was nothing. Every time Oregon tried to get something going, the Hoosiers were right there to shut it down. It was a masterclass in hustle and determination, and it set the tone for the entire game. The defensive pressure was relentless, and it forced Oregon into mistakes they don't usually make at home. Star of the night? Jackson with 24 points. Dude was hotter than a pepperoni pizza fresh out of the oven. He was absolutely unstoppable, slicing through the Oregon defense like a hot knife through butter. Every time Indiana needed a bucket, Jackson was there, delivering with poise and confidence. He hit tough shots, finished at the rim, and knocked down clutch free throws when it mattered most. The Ducks just had no answer for him, and you could see the frustration on their faces every time he scored. Jackson's performance was the stuff of legends, and he played with a swagger that inspired his teammates to elevate their own games. Every time Oregon tried to rally, Indiana shut it down, like, not in our house, or yours. The Ducks would string together a couple of baskets, the crowd would start to get loud, and just when it seemed like Oregon might make a run, Indiana would slam the door shut with a big defensive play or a timely three-pointer. It was like the Hoosiers had an answer for everything Oregon threw at them, and they never let the momentum slip away. The composure Indiana showed under pressure was remarkable, and it's a big reason why they walked away with the win. And the crowd in Eugene, you could feel the tension. It was thick in the air, almost like you could reach out and grab it. The Oregon faithful, who are used to seeing their team dominate at home, were left holding their breath as Indiana kept making big plays. Every time the Ducks tried to mount a comeback, the Hoosiers answered right back, and you could see the anxiety building in the stands. It was a hostile environment, but Indiana never flinched. The Hoosiers thrived under the pressure, feeding off the energy of the crowd and using it as fuel to keep pushing forward. But the Hoosier bench was hyped. They knew they were making a statement. Every time a big play happened, the entire bench was on their feet, cheering, clapping, and waving towels. The energy was infectious, and it seemed to fuel the players on the court even more. You could tell that this was a team that believed in each other, that trusted each other, and that was playing for something bigger than themselves. The unity and support from the bench kept the momentum alive, and it was clear that every player, whether on the court or not, was fully invested in the team's success. Oregon's faces? Let's just say they looked like they bit into a lemon. The frustration was written all over their faces as Indiana kept making big plays and the clock kept ticking down. The Ducks just couldn't find an answer, and you could see the disappointment in their body language. It was a tough night for Oregon, but an unforgettable one for Indiana. The Ducks are a proud program, but tonight, they simply ran into a team that wanted it more and played like it. This isn't just luck. Indiana's been stacking up wins all season. If you've been paying attention, you know that this team has been quietly building something special. They've been flying under the radar, picking up big wins, and gaining confidence with every game. Tonight was just the latest chapter in a story that's still being written. And if you're not on the Indiana bandwagon yet, now's the time to hop on. The Hoosiers are showing that they're not just a team to watch, they're a team to fear. They've got chemistry, guts, and some seriously clutch playmakers. You can see it in the way they move the ball, the way they communicate on defense, and the way they step up in big moments. This is a team that trusts each other, that plays for each other, and that never backs down from a challenge. They've got the kind of chemistry that you just can't fake, and it's paying off in a big way. The Hoosiers are building something real, and their belief in each other is turning them into a force to be reckoned with. So, to the doubters, think again. Indiana is for real, and they're not going anywhere. This win wasn't a fluke, and it wasn't just a lucky night. The Hoosiers have been putting in the work, and now they're starting to see the results. If you're still sleeping on Indiana, it's time to wake up and pay attention. The rest of the season just got a whole lot more interesting, and you can bet that every team on their schedule is taking notice. Now I gotta ask, did anyone actually expect Indiana to pull this off? Be honest, how many of you had the Hoosiers winning this one on your bracket? Because I know a lot of people counted them out before the game even started. But that's the beauty of college basketball. Anything can happen on any given night. And tonight, Indiana proved that they're a team to be reckoned with. Upsets like this are what make the sport so thrilling, and it's why we keep coming back for more. Drop your hottest take in the comments, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for all the wildest college basketball moments. We want to hear from you. What was your favorite play of the night? Who do you think was the MVP? And do you think Indiana can keep this momentum going for the rest of the season? Let's get the conversation started. Your voice matters, and we want to know what you think about this epic showdown. Hoosiers fans, celebrate big tonight, because your team is officially on the map. This is a win that you'll be talking about for years to come, a moment that will go down in Indiana basketball history. Soak it in, enjoy every second, and get ready for what's next. Because if tonight was any indication, the Hoosiers are just getting started. This is what college basketball is all about: passion, excitement, and the thrill of the unexpected. Indiana, take a bow. You've earned it. And for everyone else watching, buckle up, because the rest of this season is going to be wild.